Hello all, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I am going to discuss about the post joining formalities part 2. Guys, this video is the continuation of the part 1. If you didn't watch my previous video, that is part 1, then you can find that video under the post joining formalities playlist, where I have discussed about how to update your bank details validation and how to update your emergency contact number. So in this video I am going to discuss about the how to update your primary mobile number in the post joining formalities and how to update your beneficiary details in the post joining formalities. So be with us till the end of this video. Now let's begin. So once you logged into your onboarding portal, that is your on Cognizant portal, you will find this post joining formalities under the onboarding section. Okay, so you have in the previous video I have done this bank details validation and emergency contact update. Okay, if you didn't watch my previous video, then you can watch it before. So now in this video I am going to show you how to update this primary mobile number. Okay, so see here, launch now button is appear. You have to click on this launch now button. Once you click on that launch now button, you will be redirected to this phone number page where you can update your primary mobile number. So for updating your primary mobile number, you have to write your primary mobile number in this telephone section. Okay, so in country code you have to write 91, that is our country code, and now you write your telephone number in the telephone section, that is your primary mobile number. Then in extension section you don't need to write anything, so you just leave it as it is. And after that, this box is already checked. If it is not checked, then you have to click on this box and check this preferred option. Okay, since you are making this number as a primary mobile number, so it should be checked. And after this, this checkbox is not already checked, you have to check this checkbox. If you want to show this mobile number to all the associates who visit to your profile, then you can check this checkbox, that is a flow to Outlook, that this number will be added to your Outlook mail. Okay, so after that you have to click on this authenticate option. So once you click on this authenticate option, an OTP will be generated, where you have to write that OTP in this section and authenticate your primary mobile number. So after your authentication done, you have to click on this save button. Okay, so once you save, if you want to add one or more number, then you can add this by clicking on this add phone number. Another box will appear here, so you can add in that section also. And if you want to make it as a primary number, then you can make it as primary number, or else leave this checkbox as it is. Okay, so now once done with this, you have to click on that save button. So once you click on this save button, your primary mobile number will be updated after 3 to 4 hours. Okay, so now you are done with updating your primary mobile number. Okay, after that, now again you have to go to the post joining formalities section and now click on the launch button under the dependent or beneficiary update. Okay, so once you click on that dependent and beneficiary update launch now button, you will be redirected to this page, that is your adding dependent information page. So in this page you have to update your dependent or beneficiary name, their address and their profile section. So now I will show you how to update the details of your dependent in the dependent information page. So let us take an example of father and mother that I want to add as a dependent in the dependent information page. So for that, you have to click on this add icon, as there are two dependent that I want to add in the dependent information page. So you have to just click on this add icon, another dependent will be added. and their ID will be associated along with that dependent. So now you have to fill the details of your dependent one by one. Okay, so let us start filling one by one dependent. Okay, so you have already added your dependent number of dependent in this section. Now coming to the dependent status, you have to select the status of your dependent, whether it is active or not, by clicking on this and select the active status. And in effective date, it is generally the current date that you are updating the details of your dependent. Okay, so don't need to do anything here, just click on this box and select the current date. And now coming to the name history, in this section again effective date will be the current date. Now in the format type, it should be English. It is already present as English, don't need to do anything. Now coming to the edit name, you have to click on this edit name and write the name of your first dependent here. Okay, after writing the name of your first dependent, you have to go to the dependent address. And remember, don't save this dependent name first you have to fill all this dependent address and dependent profile, then you have to click on this save button. Okay, after filling all those details. So once you filled this name of the first dependent, then you have to go to the dependent address page. So once you click on this dependent address page, you will be redirected to this page where your dependent address is to be filled. So you have to add the address of the dependent in the address section. Okay, so suppose if the a dependent is having the same address as that of the employee, then you can check this checkbox, and once you check this checkbox, the address of the employee will appear here that he or she had filled earlier in the portal. So once you fill the address, then you have to fill the phone number of that dependent. And suppose if the dependent is having the same phone number, then you can check this checkbox as he or she has a other phone number, then you can write the phone number in this phone section. Okay, so once you're done writing this phone number, then you have to go to this dependent profile section. So for that, you have to click on this dependent profile section. Once you click this section, then you will be redirected to the dependent profile page. Okay, so you have to fill the personal detail of the dependent in the dependent profile page. Okay, so guys, see here there are too many sections, so fill the details very carefully one by one. Okay, so in the personal profile detail, all the personal details is to be filled, that is their date of birth, their birth location, their birth state, and their birth country is to be filled in the personal profile. Okay, so now coming to the national ID, guys, one thing remember here is that, see here the star mark. So it is mandatory that the person that you are adding as a dependent in the dependent information page, he or she must be having some national ID. So the national ID that is required are PAN card or voter ID card. Okay, suppose if the dependent is having PAN card, then you can add the PAN card in this national ID type section. You can write PAN PAN and the option will appear. Just click on this PAN option and it will redirected in this section. Okay, so after this, you have to write the description of the ID type that you have used in this section, that is whether it is your voter ID card or whether it is your PAN card. Okay, so after this, in the national ID section, you have to fill the national ID number of the card that you have used here. Okay, so suppose if you are using your voter ID card, so you have to fill the voter ID number in this national ID section. Okay, and suppose if you want to make this person as a primary contact, okay, so you have to just check this checkbox icon. Okay, so after that, now you have to fill the personal history of that particular candidate. Okay, in this section you have to fill the relationships of that dependent with you, then dependent beneficiary type, then their gender, then their marital status. Okay, so in effective date it is your current date. Okay, and in the relationship to the employee section you have to fill the relationship of your dependent with you, and suppose if he or she is your parent, then you have to select the parent option, or whether it is your spouse or whether it is your children, then you have to select according to the dependent that you have chosen. Okay, so now in the dependent beneficiary type, guys, most of the candidate were got stuck in this section whether what to choose in the dependent beneficiary type. So see guys, in this section you have to select the dependent. Okay, don't go for beneficiary type or both or cobra dependent here. Okay, you have to just select the dependent type. Okay. Then after that, in the gender you have to select the gender of that particular dependent, then their marital status, whether he or she is married or not, whether he is a student or whether he is a disabled, you have to give according to that section. And in this section you have to fill the date. Okay, so after filling this all three section, you are done with the adding of the first dependent. Okay, and then suppose if you want to add the details of the second dependent, you have to again go to the dependent name section. So once you come to this section, then you have to click on this next icon, that is your second dependent. Okay, so it will appear as 2 of 2. Okay, and here the dependent beneficiary ID will now shows like 02. Okay, so since it is your second dependent, so you can fill the details according to it that I have shown in the previously. Okay, so this all are the dependent details. So once you done or done with the adding of the dependent in the dependent information page, you have to click on this save button. Okay, now once you are done with the adding of your dependent, then you have to click on this save button. So once you have clicked on this save button, now you have added your dependent details in the dependent information page. Okay, so I hope that it is clear to you, and if you have any further queries, then you can comment it in the comment box. And if you didn't join our Telegram group, then link is in the description box. So thank you all of you. We will meet you in the next video.